It's me, Vicki Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. I hope you're all well. Thank you for watching. For anyone who's new to this channel, my name is Vicki Marie. I am based in mainland Spain. I'm from the UK originally, and I talk about crime cases from the UK, from Australia, from Canada, from America, from Europe, anywhere really English speaking normally. And we've been covering this case of this cherubic little boy, little Gus Lamont, who has disappeared in Australia, in a very, very remote part of Australia. Have I got a bigger picture of him to show? Yeah. And this boy was playing at his grandparents' home, which is extremely rural. I mean, I think you know, if you've seen the coverage, it's unbelievably remote and isolated. You can't imagine that anybody would have come there with a car or anything to abduct him, because it would have been heard. You know, sound travels in those remote places. Anyway, 1 minute his grandparents saw him playing outside on a mound of sand, or a mound of sorry, I've just got to turn something off here, hang on. 1 minute he was there and then he was gone, and this happened in the sort of early evening one Saturday. Where is he? So you can imagine there's been big searches made for him, but the police have announced that they've scaled back the search because it's been so long now. There is little or no likelihood that this little one is still alive. Now, at the end of the day, he can't look after himself, can he? So if he's been disappeared for all this time, he can't get food, he can't get water. So basically, the police have more or less said now that they think he's deceased. They're continuing looking for him, but they're looking for him in a different way now. So like initially, of course, it was a search for a child who was alive, and now I think they're looking for a tiny little body. So it's very, very sad, very sad. Anyway, there's information coming to light. I mean, the police have said that they have got no information that this is anything other than a child who literally wandered away and got lost, or something happened to them, something untoward happened to them, either animals, or they fell down a well, or they had an accident. You know, that's what they've insisted on saying, the police. So either they've got no other evidence of it being anything else, or they don't want to say that at the moment, because we do know that the police don't always tell the truth. I mean, it may be that they think something different has happened, but they don't think it's the right time to release it. It must be so difficult for the family because they're obviously coming under suspicion. And that's what we're going to look at today. This is a very, as more information is coming out about the family circumstances, it's a lot more complex than we perhaps thought in the beginning. Well, we didn't know why he was at his grandparents' house. You know, we're learning a lot more now, and the grandparents have come out and spoken. So that's what we're going to look at, what the grandparents had to say. I look at because something that you may not know, and I certainly didn't know until I read about it in this article in the Daily Mail, that the grandparent, his grandmother, was born a man. So, you know, it not that makes any difference in one way, but there's other complications, family complications in this case. Because his mum and dad are, well, not exactly estranged, but living in different places. And now we learn he does have a sibling who's only 1 year old. So, yeah, it's a very complicated family dynamic. which whether that's got any relevance to what has or hasn't happened to Gus, I don't know, but I'm just letting you know today, you know, we're going to talk about it. Obviously we'll be respectful, as we always are, to the circumstances, but yeah, it's quite a complex family environment, let's say that, you know, for his parents' situation, and for the fact that his grandparent is a woman now, transitioned many years ago apparently, and lives with their partner. So we're going to look at that. That's what we're going to look at in this video. First of all, usual bit of waffle. So here in Spain, where I am in the Valencia region of Spain, in Valencia, oh my God, I mean, we've had rain, storms, and today there's been a weather warning. In fact, I just want to go and get hold of my phone, because we're getting alerts through on the phone. So I just want to keep my phone nearby, and it's over here. Yeah, I want to keep my phone nearby in case we get any kind of alert. Oh God, there you go. Something just came through now. That's probably the alert to tell me that I'm live. Yeah, it is. That's just a YouTube alert. But yeah, it was quite scary yesterday. We got quite a few alerts telling us to be careful today, Friday, the 10th of October, to expect storms, very heavy rain. And I can hear the storms in the distance. They haven't hit where I am yet, but they're there lurking. I can hear them. The sky is very strange, and if all the schools have been cancelled, people have been told not to leave the house if they can avoid it. I mean, luckily for me that I work at home. When I was in the supermarket this morning, luckily I popped to the supermarket this morning because it was a holiday here yesterday, so there were not the big supermarkets weren't open. So I went this morning. I thought, getting some provisions, because it's supposed to be a whole day of really bad storms, rain, etc. It really is quite scary when they put out these alerts like this. And it feels so eerie, because here it is, it's a Friday, there's not a car on the road. As I say, schools have been cancelled. I know building works and things have been cancelled. People have been told there was an emergency meeting at the town hall, and they've issued advice that you should not leave the house unless it's absolutely necessary. You know, it really is sort of, they are expecting something big. Anyway, it hasn't got going yet in my area, but I can hear it in the distance, so I'm sure it's passing over. So just to let you know, if the electricity suddenly goes off or the internet suddenly goes off, you know, I can hear those rumbles of thunder in the distance. It really is quite scary. Anyway, so that's what's happening here. Just be glad when it's all over, you know, because the thing in Spain is we don't get much rain, but when we do, it's normally pretty dramatic. And this time last year, wasn't it? That's when the floods were in Valencia, in the Valencia city, and lots of people were killed and that, because they came out of nowhere. So I do think that this is why this time there's these government alerts going out, and they're all frightening you into staying at home, really, because last year nobody got any warning. You know, literally people, just 1 minute everything was okay, next minute the streets were flooded. People were caught out in car parks, you know, in underground car parks that got flooded, and people couldn't get out their cars. I mean, it was pretty horrible. And you may remember I covered it, and the King and Queen went to visit them, and the people threw mud at the King and Queen. But they showed a lot of bravery and a lot of empathy with the Spanish people, because the Queen of Spain, literally, could you imagine Prissy Kate doing it, or Camilla? They literally were there in the streets having mud thrown on them and still going and talking to people and trying to calm them down, listening to what they had to say. I think that gave them a lot of, the Spanish royal family are quite popular. But I think that made them even more popular, just the bravery of going amongst all the people like that. It must have been a nightmare for the security services, because they did put their lives in danger, really, because people were angry. I mean, people had lost, relatives, animals, people were angry, upset, and the King and Queen of Spain went there and walked amongst them all and spoke to them individually, covered in mud that people had thrown at them. So it was, anyway, so let's hope it's not like that this year. We certainly couldn't say we've not had any warning this year. I mean, God, we've had loads of warning. Yesterday, the phone just seemed to be constantly alerting. Well, it wasn't, I'm being dramatic, it was probably twice, but it sounded like more, because then I could hear my son's phone going off as well. And it, you can tell everybody's like battened down the hatches. It's so quiet. When is it ever quiet around my house? Whenever I'm trying to do a live, there's normally something going on. It's neighbours in the street, or bangers going off, or whatever. But no, it's like silent. The only thing you can hear is a rumble of thunder in the distance. So yeah, it's quite dramatic. Okay, so first of all, as well, before I go into this, I just want to say thank you to you all. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. If you share my videos, that's very helpful as well. Thank you. And a special thank you, of course, to my members. We talked about ghosts last night. I don't think any of us will ever forget the scratching Fanny ghost that we talked about last night. I mean, it's just like you couldn't make real life. Honest to God, you couldn't make it up. It's like truth is always stranger than fiction. A special thank you as well to those of you who sent me, bought me Ko-fis, sent me PayPals, sent super stickers, emails, left lovely messages. Any positive way you contribute to my channel, thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to take my banner off, say my hellos. So hi, you lovely lurkers out there. Thank you for watching. Hi to replay crew. Thank you for watching. And now I'm going to come in the chat, see who's here. Hope your Fridays, well, I was going to say better than my Friday's fine so far. As long as this rain, everybody's safe after this rain. I mean, I've said a few prayers this morning. Not only for us, obviously, but for everybody, because there'll be people out there who've got to go out, to work, or there'll be animals out there with no home. I hope they're all okay. There'll be homeless people. What do people do in these circumstances? And they've got, and I hope they've, just pray everybody is safe after these storms finish, which apparently it won't be till maybe Sunday. But today's going to be the worst day apparently, and then tomorrow it'll have lessened off a bit, but it'll still be raining. Now rain's fine, we can cope with rain, can't we? It's this torrential rain that we get sometimes, and the storms and everything. So it's just praying for everybody's okay. Okay, let's see who's in the chat. Let me know what you're up to, what the weather is like where you are. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Lily. Yeah, poor little fella. Hi, Celia. Oh, you're in Tasmania, Celia. Oh, dear, have you got big storms as well? Some fatality. Oh, this is what terrifies you, isn't it? Because, well, some people have to go out, don't they? They don't have a choice. They have to go to work, or they have to do whatever. But literally here in Spain, the whole of the Valencia region has been told not to go out. So I think, but, I was in the supermarket this morning getting provisions, and I heard the girl on the till, a young girl, and one of the customers was saying to her, "Oh, I was surprised you were open," because the government are telling people to stay at home and not open places. And she said, well, we're open at the moment, but we may close later. And she said she was scared. She said, I am scared, I'd rather be at home. But she's had to go to work. I don't think she lives very far away. I think she lives in the area. So at least she hasn't got a long way to travel to go home but she said, we're open at the moment, but depending on what happens later, we may end up closing. Just got to wait and see what happens. Just feels really ominous. It feels like we're waiting for this massive thing to happen. And at the moment, it's literally the calm before the storm, because it is so quiet. And just those rumbles of thunder in the distance. It's really quite weird. Oh, thank you, Tracy. Hi, Finola. Yeah, let's hope. Anyway, what can we do? We can't do anything about Mother Nature, can we? I've just made sure I've got plenty of food in, so we don't have to go out again for the rest of the day. Oh, I can hear it rumbling. But it does make you anxious. I don't ever remember being this anxious before with storms. Do you know? We had a big storm just before COVID happened. There was a big storm around this area, and that was terrible. And people's homes got swept away, and it was terrible. But it also got forgotten a little bit, because then the next thing that you knew, that was in the October, and then by January, February, or whatever, whenever the COVID sort of crisis happened, so that those particular floods and heavy storms sort of got forgotten, and I've got friends whose home literally got washed away and they still haven't been compensated. But you just think, but before that, I don't ever remember being so scared of the weather. I feel like something happened during COVID. Maybe they are messing around with the weather. Some people think that. The weather, or maybe it is climate change, because I've lived in Spain for 30 years and the weather over the last couple of years has been completely different from what I remember from when I first came here. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's always hot in the summer. It's always really hot in the summer. We always get some rains in like the October time, or September, October, that mark the end of the summer and then the start of the winter. I just don't remember it being so dramatic. Or maybe it's because now you see it all on social media again, because we see things like before. It would have been a storm here, maybe where I am, but I wouldn't have known what was happening just up the road because this is what happens. We don't get it that bad normally where I am. And there's coastal areas get it worse. But of course, you wouldn't have seen that years ago, would you? You wouldn't have seen all that footage of other areas that now it's constantly on social media. So I do think we're more aware of things, and then we're aware, of course, of storms even in other countries, earthquakes, everything that happens in this global village that we live in, we get to know about it. I don't think it's necessarily a good thing, because that means that we worry about everything, don't we? Oh, Celia, so you've been told to stay home as well. Yeah, that was funny last night, wasn't it, Tracy, the members live? Hi, Daniel. Happy Friday. So let's have a look at this very complicated situation. Right, first of all, we'll watch this little video.
Bienvenidos a Enfoque Escalera, especialistas en escaleras de trabajo, plataformas y andamios. Ofrecemos una amplia gama de...
There you go. So look at that. Look at that property. It's miles away from anything or anyone. It's just so remote. That's where little Gus has gone missing from. You know, so where is he? Where is this little boy? Where do all these missing children go to? You know, it just seems like children are always going missing. How can a child disappear? Now, you can see, because of the remoteness, why maybe they won't be worried about anyone kidnapping him. Oops, I don't want that. But, you know, and it's barren as well. It's not trees and stuff. So you think his body, although I know he's only little, if they were looking for his body, it would be easily spotted if he had died, you know. Sorry, just turn that on. You know, it was very barren, wasn't it? Anyway, let's have a look at the thing that's concerning me a little bit now is this complicated family relationship that we've got. They've got the family of missing 4-year-old August Gus Lamont are still clinging to the faint hope he will be found as the child's grandparents spoke for the first time. The little boy vanished almost 2 weeks ago. So 2 weeks for a little 4-year-old boy. He can't survive. You know, if he's out there in that outback or whatever it is, he couldn't survive, could he? What could he eat? What could he drink? More importantly, because you can't survive without water, can you? So, you know, where is he? Anyway, he was playing in the yard of remote Oak Park homestead in the harsh South Australian outback, 300 kilometres north of Adelaide. Huge air and land searches have failed to find any trace of him, apart from a single footprint in the desert scrub since he disappeared on the evening of September 27. Now, I'd like to have a look at that. Let's see that again. Let's just have a look at this. What is this? I don't know if this is supposed to be it as well. Gosh. I mean, there seem to be a lot of perils there, don't there? Let me just, I want to watch that first video again that we watched. There it is. Yeah, it's just a barren wasteland. You know, just odd. These videos never do what you want them to. I don't want to watch that. There you go. I mean, couldn't get more remote than that, could you? I mean, how far could that little boy... I don't believe that he can have got very far. I just don't believe it. Something's happened to him closer. I don't believe that he'll have ran off miles and miles. I just don't. I just don't believe it. So I know the police are saying that as far as they're concerned, they've got no evidence of anything else, but I just don't believe it. Someone knows where this little boy is, I think. So they've been flying drones overhead to try and sort of find it, you know, because it's not many trees and things, are there? But apparently there are mine shafts in the area. Okay. So, yeah, they found that footprint, didn't they? Police have now given up all hope of finding him alive and said last week the search had been scaled back into body recovery mode. On Wednesday, the property, set in a vast stretch of flat, featureless desert, was eerily quiet with no sign of any police operation after Defence Force, SES, and Indigenous tracker teams withdrew from the area. But Gus's grandparent, Josie Murray, a transgender woman who locals say transitioned many years ago, told the Daily Mail the family had not lost hope. "We're still looking for him," she insisted, while declining any offers of assistance in the search effort. "You can't help. We are still dealing with this." Yeah. Now, for the first time, I'm starting to feel a little bit suspicious, because surely you would take any help you could get from people offering to search for him. Look at him. Oh, dear me. So apparently they're still clinging to the hope he will be found, as the child's transgender grandparent spoke for the first time. So they're taking every opportunity to say transgender. I mean, I don't think that makes any difference, does it? You know, just because his grandparent is transgender. That's her, anyway, Josie, a transgender woman who locals say transitioned many years ago. And she told the Daily Mail the family had not lost hope. They've got a little dog there there's always a dog, isn't there? There's always a dog. Now, is that a walking stick? No, I don't think it is a walking stick. So I don't know how old Josie is. Not that that matters, but this is the first time we've really heard anything from them. And there's another picture of the place where he's gone missing from. He's not gone anywhere. You'd have to. I mean, they saw him 1 minute and then he was gone. And I know toddlers can walk pretty fast, can't they? But where could he have gone and not be? He's not going to have gone anywhere. Don't believe it that he has. Let's watch this video we did watch this before. This is the police conference. Let's watch it again.
Cuando pagas tus impuestos vuelven. Vuelven con las personas que están ahí para que todo salga bien. Con esa profesora que te marcará para siempre. Con las ayudas para emprender y reemprender. Lo que das cuando pagas impuestos vuelve a ti. Vuelve a todos. Ministerio de Hacienda, Gobierno de España.
We have now scaled down this search. We talk about searches involving a time frame for survival when someone is likely to survive. We've taken advice from experts, as we always do, in relation to that. We've reviewed the search that's been undertaken and satisfied we've done everything possible to try and locate Benjamin, but we have been unable to locate him within the search area. As it is only, I'd say only, but the train would make it much more difficult, 10 kilometres from the Stewart Highway.
Did he say Benjamin?
We are still seeking information from members of the public who may have seen Benjamin.
This before that
we have now scaled down this search.
Benjamin.
We talk about searches involving a time frame for survival when someone is likely to survive. We've taken advice from experts, as we always do, in relation to that. We've reviewed the search that's been undertaken and satisfied we've done everything possible to try and locate Benjamin.
Yeah, he used his wrong name there. Said Benjamin. Is he talking about somebody else there? Maybe they're showing the wrong part of the video, because they were talking about somebody else as well on this same press conference. So this is not right, is it?
But we have been unable to locate him within the search area. As it is only, I'd say only, but the train would make it much more difficult, 10 kilometres from.
Either he's got him mixed up with the other missing person he was talking about, or I don't know, or he's just got the name wrong, because he definitely said Benjamin.
The Stewart Highway. We are still seeking information from members of the public who may have seen Benjamin.
Oh, yes. This is somebody else is talking about. But the Daily Mail, or have I gone on to the next one? Let's have a look. Yeah. Anyway, never mind. That was totally useless. Anyway, locals have now urged even well-meaning volunteers to stay away from the remote station as the grieving family grapples with their loss and contends with wild theories online. I know this family very well and they don't want people turning up and having to just deal with that, one neighbour told the Adelaide Advertiser. Even if the people are well-meaning and sympathetic, they just want peace and quiet and try and work out for themselves what's actually happened. It's understood that Josie Murray lives with Gus's grandmother. So Josie Murray is his mum, isn't it? And it's understood that Josie Murray lives with Gus's grandmother, Shannon Murray, and that the child's mother, Jess. Who's Josie Murray then? Do you know what I mean? It's a very complicated situation, isn't it? Josie Murray lives with Gus's grandmother, Shannon Murray, and the child's mother, Jess, is also on the property where Gus went missing. And locals have told the Daily Mail that Jess and Gus's... what? So who's Jess? So this is a very confusing article. So Jess is Gus's sister, I think. She's only one. Oh, no, it's a 1-year-old son, Ronnie. Ah. Well, somebody try and work this out for me. So, is it me? Maybe it's me. Locals have told the Daily Mail that Jess and Gus's father, Joshua Lamont, so Jess is Gus's mum. Right, so Jess is Gus's mum and his father is Joshua Lamont, and they also share a 1-year-old son, Ronnie, who is also believed to live on that station. However, Mr. Lamont, the dad, lives 2 hours drive away, 100 kilometres to the west, in Belleley North near Jamestown. The Daily Mail has been told, so again, this is just what the Daily Mail says, and they're just saying what somebody has told them, that Josh and Jess remain a couple, but he does not live on the station because of clashes with Josie. Josh doesn't think it's safe for the kids to be out there. It's dangerous, a family friend revealed. Well, it does look dangerous, to be honest. So this was the footprint that was found. One footprint, a single footprint, discovered about 500 metres from the homestead, and police have since cast doubt on that. It's a very, very weird thing, isn't it? Very, very weird. It's like the Jack and Lily Sullivan case over there in Nova Scotia. Summer Wells, Sebastian Rogers, these mysterious cases. Children going missing and no clue as to what's happened to them. I don't know, I'm just starting to think there's something here. I don't know. So this week, the property set in a vast swathe of flat, featureless desert was eerily quiet with no sign of any police operation. So the police are not there anymore. Huge air and land searches have failed to find any trace of Gus, apart from a single footprint in the desert scrub, since he disappeared on the evening of September the 27th. It's understood Mr. Lamont only found out his child was missing when police woke him up at his home, hours after Gus had vanished. Local experts who helped with the search say they are baffled by the disappearance and their inability to find any clues to the little boy's fate. So Gus was apparently last seen playing in a mound of dirt around 5 p.m, but had vanished when his grandmother went to call him inside half an hour later. Yeah, so he's 4 years old. He was playing in a mound of dirt, and then he was left alone there to play in that mound of dirt for another half an hour. So the boy had been wearing a grey broad-brimmed hat, a distinctive blue long-sleeved shirt with a Minion picture from the movie Despicable Me on the front, with light grey pants and boots. Now, the thing is, if let's take the worst case scenario that the family had done something to him. Where is he? You know, where is he? If they'd taken him somewhere away from the property, there would definitely be evidence of that, wouldn't there? Or if somebody had come and kidnapped him, they would have heard surely a vehicle or seen tracks. There'd be tracks that shouldn't be there. But if he's on the property, you know, if something bad has happened to him and he's on the property somewhere, haven't they searched the property? Oh, gosh. Despite the vast, flat, featureless landscape surrounding the property, there had been no sight of the boy, alive or dead, raising questions about where he could be. I am personally very doubtful he's on the property, said Jason O'Connell, an SES member for 11 years, who covered more than 1,200 kilometres as part of the search team. After days of hunting for the boy, Mr. O'Connell and his partner Jen had expected to see birds of prey if there was a lifeless body on the property. No birds of prey means he's not there, he added. It's just wide open land. There's really not much there. And I'm surprised because we just didn't find anything. He's not on that property. So if he's not on the property though, this is what he was wearing, this T-shirt, not this exact one, but this was what was released by the South Australia Police as the T-shirt he was wearing. Let's have a look at the gallery actually while we're at it. Junta local Alex Thomas called out online vitriol aimed at Gus's family and lecturing the conspiracy theorist on the realities of rural life. I mean, I do think that's it. I think if we don't live in that sort of environment, it's hard for us to get our head around it all because we don't live there. You know, like you wouldn't let your 4-year-old child play outside unsupervised in a city, would you? You just wouldn't. Maybe in the garden if you had a tiny little garden, but even then I don't think you would, not at 4 years old. But you know, living the way they live in the places they live, it is a whole different circumstance. Poor little thing. So this is Josie Murray, the grandparent. And there it is again, the homestead. Look how remote it is. Goodness. I don't think I'd like to live anywhere like that. At night, it must be terrifying. You know, it just must be so scary. Very, very scary. That's that footprint again, or supposed footprint. Yeah. So Assistant Police Commissioner Ian Parrott said his team were confident that we have done all we can to locate Gus. The determination of every individual involved to find Gus has never wavered, he said. Like every member of the community who has been following this sad event, they too have been very much affected by what happened. I don't know. It's very strange, isn't it, Celia? Very, very strange. You know, this whole circumstance is very, very strange. Very, very, very odd, the whole thing. Let's see if there's any other video. So really, that's the only news, that the grandparent has spoken for the first time. Remember, they set up those drones. They said they're going through the drone footage, aren't they? They sent up the drones. We heard that the other day, and they're looking through the drone footage. Let's have a little, let's see if we can.
You all ready? Okay. So despite our very best efforts to find Gus, as you know, the search was scaled back from Friday afternoon. I might repeat some background here, but I think it's important to restate that on Tuesday of last week, medical experts advised there was little hope then for us to find Gus alive. But despite that, we continued on for 3 more days with a significant search presence till Friday afternoon. The investigation is now being managed by Missing Persons Section, which is part of Major Crime Investigation Branch, and that's where all long-term cases such as this are managed and investigated, which is standard practice. In addition to the search activity, there has been concurrent inquiries undertaken as a matter of course, as you would expect when a 4-year-old child goes missing, and those inquiries are continuing. We are actively looking to rule out every investigation opportunity at this stage. We are continuing to search the property when potential evidence is located that could be connected to Gus. So to that end, on Monday the 6th of October, a significant search was conducted around a dam about 3.5 kilometres west of the homestead after a small boot print was located. The search involved numerous resources, including star, pole-air and a tracker. The print was subsequently found not to be related to Gus. And on Friday and Saturday night, a contingent of police also conducted a significant aerial search of the property using a special drone with infrared capabilities to search this large area. This is the same technology that was used in the search in Port Lincoln for the remains of Julian Story. Now, the results of that drone analysis are still being analysed.
That's right. Remember, she said that they'd use the same drone that they used when they were looking for Julian's Story. You know, he was the boyfriend of the influencer who sadly was found. Yeah, they're using the same drones looking for Gus. You would think that they would find him because it's a very sparse. You know, there's not many trees and things like that unless he's actually fallen down a mine shaft.
We hope to have those results in coming weeks. It's quite complex technology, so it will take a little while for that to work through. But if anything any information comes that directs us to conduct further searches in specific areas, we will be doing that in the coming weeks. As we've stated, we will never give up hope of finding Gus. There are further lines of inquiry being undertaken, and the family have continued to cooperate fully with police and have consented to every request that we have made of them thus far. This is just to emphasise to people in the community that we still have a public appeal for anyone who has any information about Gus or any concerns, but we will be continuing this investigation and highlight that you may see some other activity out there from time to time. For example, when the results of this search by the drone has been completed.
Sorry, when did the special drone fly?
Friday and Saturday nights.
Thanks, Around.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was
Are you still looking at what is captured?
Yes, so it's quite complex technology. It has to be analysed. It uses quite significant technology that the operator will then have to analyse and provide that information back.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a press conference from a few days ago, wasn't it? So anyway, Anyway, so that's it really. That's the update as far as, you know, things I didn't know about this case. So it was an update to me, and I was presuming it'd be an update to you. I did not know that Josie, his grandparent, was transgender. Not that that's in a way got anything to do with it, but it's just, these are just, what is this family dynamic? That she lives there, that's her property, I think, Josie's. And her daughter lives there, Gus's mum, and also his sister, another 1 year old, another little sibling, but the father doesn't live there, but they're still in a relationship, but he's angry about them living there, apparently, according to what people have told the Daily Mail. Gus's father, Joshua, it's a boy. The other child is a boy as well, a 1 year old son, Ronnie, who is also believed to live on that station. But Mr. Lamont, Joshua, Gus's dad, lives 2 hours drive away. They're still a couple, but he does not live there because of clashes with Josie, which is the grandparent. So there's a complex relationship there, isn't there? And, you know, whenever this, most family relationships, I suppose, are quite complex. There's always problems in families, aren't there, one way or another? But now we're finding this out, it just makes you a little bit more suspicious of everything, or it does me, because it's not, there's more to this case, it feels to me now. Now that bits of information, my screen is black. Why is that? I'm back. It's because I had it on full screen anyway, never mind. So yeah, well, let me know what you think. So, as I say, we've got to wait for official news. I mean, this is the Daily Mail saying these things, and the Daily Mail, to be fair to them, are just saying what other people have told them. What's the truth of it all? Where's the we need some official confirmation of something. And I suppose they're looking at the drone footage. What will they find on the drone footage? Will they find little Gus somewhere on that very isolated scrubland? I can't see that if he has deceased out there, surely they will find him, except if there are mine shafts and things like that that may have fallen down, isn't it? So it's getting more and more, bit more and more like the Jack and Lily case in Nova Scotia, more mysterious by the day. But the one thing we do know for certain is that this little boy, 4 years old, he hasn't left home voluntarily. You know, he's not like a teenager that can run away from home and maybe, you know, build a new life somewhere. He's 4 years old. Something's happened to him. And personally, I think somebody knows what's happened to him. I hope whatever it is found out soon. Bless him. So yeah, we say a little prayer for him and for the family, because he must be going through hell. Somebody knows what's happened to him, but then other people don't. So I just cannot imagine when your 4-year-old goes missing and you don't even know, you know, so mysteriously as that, and you don't even know anything. You'd be imagining everything. You know, has he been abducted? Have animals taken him? Did he suffer if he's fallen down a mine shaft, or he's had an accident? Because if he had an accident, he can't still be alive. He just cannot still be alive. And that's the conclusion the police have come to. And, you know, that's the way it is, isn't it? He just can't be. It's just impossible for a 4-year-old to survive all that time. Yeah, a little candle for Gus. Let's find my candle. this little boy cannot be alive unless he has been snatched. You know, again, we always come to this, don't we, with these missing children cases. Ends up being the best case scenario that they might have been snatched by somebody who cares about them. You know, even if they were snatched by somebody who's abducted them, there's a chance that they might be found alive. But at the end of the day, if not, he can't be alive, can he? Bless him. Just cannot be. So, yeah, prayers for little Gus, prayers for the family. I hope, you know, they get their answers one way or another. Now, I'll be back later, hopefully, storm permitting. It's still very quiet out there, you know, we're just waiting for this. When is this storm going to hit us? But yeah, I'm going to carry on with the Madeleine McCann stalking trial. I've released the video of Amelie's testimony, Sean's testimony. The next testimony yesterday was from the very good friend of the McCanns, the McQueen, Mrs. McQueen. I'm going to be either releasing a video, I might talk about that in the live. I will be doing another video about finish off, see what's happening today at the trial. So I will be back later. So thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves. And of course, may your God go with you. Thank you so much for caring about Gus. And please include Gus in your prayers. Bye.